Hello. It's been a second. Basically, today I turned in my thesis and then took a massive nap. And now I'm here. So I thought today I would just do a little casual chat, life update type video while I sort through my New Yorkers. If you don't know what this problem is, go watch my 2021 goals video because I talk about it at length in that video. I've decided that I just need to do something about it. So basically I'm going to go through these, and there are a couple articles that I would like to save if I find them. But mostly I'm going to go through and look for nice looking covers that I can turn into art for my hypothetical walls. The walls aren't hypothetical. They're hypothetical because they're future walls for my future apartment that I'm going to live in soon, someday. Anyways, that's not vague at all. Okay, I'm already regretting wearing this sweater because it's not really sweater weather in New York anymore. But here we are. Where should I start? What are we interested in? First, I would like to apologize for getting really behind on BookTube, along with not really uploading myself. I haven't really been watching people's videos, and I'm gonna try to catch up in the next couple weeks. So if you get comments from me on a month's old video, sorry about that. Don't think I'm creepy, please. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get to everybody just because I have a lot. I have sort of a digital media hoarding problem. I mean, not just digital media, obviously, but my watch later list is a little bit out of control right now, so I might not get to everything. I might also need to declare watch later bankruptcy, pretty much. Sorry if I missed some of your videos. I'll try to get to them. If not, I'm sorry. Ooh, I'm definitely keeping this one. This is that's nice. A nice wall hanging. I like that a lot. Okay, so that is me and BookTube. The reason I've been getting a little bit behind and all this stuff, as you guys probably know because I talk about it constantly, is I am wrapping up my PhD. I just turned in my thesis to my advisor, so it's not going out to my committee yet, but that's the majority of the work because it needs to be 100% done before it goes to my advisor. Yeah, whatever. We're gonna be trying to make some more snap decisions here. Anyways, so it needed to be all the way done before going to my advisor. So it is, and I am basically doing my thesis defense in a month. So June 17th, I'll know if I'm a doctor or not. I mean, they don't let you schedule your defense unless you're gonna pass. So I'm not feeling too worried about it, I guess. But it's still exciting and and nerve-wracking. So I think it's stuff is happening. I'm excited. It's sort of weird because I've been working on my PhD for 6 years at this point, and when things got rough in lab, I think I'm gonna save this one too. I like this. Dink. When things were hard, people were always oh, I'm gonna have the best, most amazing thesis defense party after I defend. It's gonna be awesome. And it's definitely this time where you want to come together and celebrate with everybody because it's a really big accomplishment, etc., etc. But obviously this year, all of our thesis defensives have been virtual, for me and my friends who are in the same cohort as I am, or whatever you call it. So it's a little bit of a downer, honestly, just because I feel this is definitely the biggest event of my adult life so far. Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of these things where it's a little bit sad that it's happening during the pandemic. But since it is in June, I'm going to have a fun outdoor party, I think. I mean, the other thing is that throughout the course of the pandemic, most of the people that I know who live in New York have been moving away slowly, just because it's one of these things where you don't necessarily want to live in New York at this sort of time in general. And then also I have a lot of friends in grad school who are graduating and moving on to their next thing. So all of that being said, it's going to be a little bit quieter than I think I imagined it, in the past. And more Jill Lepore. I'm going to save her features. If I find that Sackler family profile that was really damning, I'm gonna save that one. And I don't know if he still writes for the New Yorker, but I really like David Owen's work. But I feel like he hasn't written anything in a long time. But if I see something of his, I'm gonna grab it also. I can't think of any other writers where I'm like, oh, this I need to keep this. Also, economists, I'm just gonna toss because I have no emotional connection with them in general. And I can't get into looking into them and being like, wow, maybe there's actually stuff in here that I do want to read. Anyways, okay, so what I was just talking about my thesis defense, right? So it's happening soon. It's happening in less than a month. It's very exciting. My thesis is done, and I got a job. Woo! So basically, I feel like maybe this is the biggest announcement of this video, but I am going to be moving to the West Coast in July. And I'm feeling a lot of feelings about that right now because, leaving New York, I've been here a long time and I really, really like the city. And it's become to feel less like home throughout the pandemic because a lot of the stuff that I like about the city are gone. It's not even that the fun stuff has closed down. It's like my favorite bakery closed, my favorite coffee shop closed. Like, it's been really hard on the businesses, and like the landscape is going to look very different in the next couple years compared to what it was like before the pandemic. So I feel like I'm not having as hard of a time being like, okay, I'm moving back. That's what's happening. But at the same time, I feel like, so I'm originally from California, and I don't think I ever thought I was going to move back. I'm moving back to the San Francisco Bay Area. Out of order, just facts about my life, I guess. I am doing a postdoctoral position, or a postdoc, which is basically just like, technically is the next step if you're like, I want to be a professor. I don't know that I want to be a professor, but it is what you do next if that is your career goal. It also preps you for a lot of other science jobs, like working at like a pharmaceutical or biotech company and stuff like that. So basically it's very similar to doing a PhD in that you are, I should say a PhD in the biomedical sciences, in that you are doing bench research and you're trying to like solve primary scientific questions. You are trying to like write papers proving certain things and like get grants to fund your work and like, I don't know, give presentations about your work to other people. What else is involved in science? I feel like that's pretty much it. But so it's in some ways a little bit more of the same, but in other ways it's different. I mean, like once you have your PhD, obviously you're expected to be much more in charge of your own project and like guide its direction a little bit more actively, I guess. So I'd be, I'm coming into this lab to work on a very specific project, but I guess I have like creative control over like how the problems are addressed overall. But yeah, it's again also sort of weird to be done with my, I mean, I still have like a month and a half of time to do lab work for my current PhD project and like try to get some more data for like a paper I'm trying to publish with my lab mate and stuff like that. But it's weird to be wrapping it up because on one hand, I'm like so sick of it because I've been working on it for 6 years. But then on the other hand, it's like there's so many questions we could still ask about this protein, and like I'm ready to move on, but like at the same time, I feel like I'm very aware that this is my last chance to do stuff with this protein and ask these questions, and there's like a time limit for me figuring some of this stuff out. So it's definitely bittersweet overall. So basically, we're gonna try to keep trucking on here. So my next project, I'm gonna be working on autophagy, or specifically mitophagy, which is basically the cell's response when your mitochondria is damaged. So the mitochondria, as you might remember from high school biology, is the powerhouse of the cell. But it's very important for producing energy and sort of normal cellular functions. But it can get damaged and like be functioning poorly. And when that happens, you need to have a way to like deal with that, or bad things happen to the cell, basically. It can set off like a bunch of bad responses. Basically, my project is funded through a Parkinson's grant. So mitophagy, or like like mitochondrial dysfunction is really involved in Parkinson's disease, which I didn't know at all before starting to look into this, because I come from an infectious disease immunology background in general. I'm really getting into this like new project in general. It's on the sort of like biophysical, biochemical level, which is like really what I do day to day. A lot of the same principles apply as like what I've been working on before, but it's a totally new biological system, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I think autophagy in general is really fascinating and like involved in basically every cellular process ever. I mean, autophagy, so mitophagy is a subset of autophagy, which is like a more generalized mechanism for the cell to clear away damaged components, or autophagy is also booted up, I guess, when the cell is in starvation conditions. So it's a way, it literally means self-eating. So it's a way for the cell to like take a whole bunch of contents out of its inner and like reprocess it for energy. I guess, I think it won the 2016 Nobel Prize in medicine, if you want to like look up a little bit more about it. It's pretty cool. It is a little bit intimidating because the protein I work on now, IFIDM3, its function was discovered in 2009. So there are like maybe 400 papers on the protein overall. Like if you just type it into PubMed, I think it might be like 300 results pop up. And honestly, at this point in my PhD, I have read or at least skimmed probably all of those. However, if you type autophagy into PubMed, something like 60,000 results come up. So it's definitely like a more evolved field, I guess. There's like a lot more background to catch up on as I'm starting this project. So anyways, that's all about the job. I'm really excited for the job. I also really, really want sushi right now, but my friend is visiting me this weekend, and I know we're gonna eat out a lot. So I feel like I shouldn't get sushi, but I really, 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 really want it. California. My feelings on California. I feel like I'm just gonna like talk for an hour, so I'm sorry guys, but basically, I'm having some feelings about moving back to California because, no. There is a Susan Orlean article in here. Susan Orlean is like a great nonfiction writer. She wrote The Orchid Thief and The Library, The Book of a Library, the library book, the one about the LA library. But this looks like it's about COVID, and honestly, like, I don't really feel like I want to or need to read general science about COVID. Ooh, this is about the rabbit virus that like totally wiped out the rabbits in Australia, but apparently it's in the US now. I'm gonna keep this one. Okay. I mean, I've gotten rid of a lot of these already. I feel like it's fine. Right? Anyways, okay, California. I grew up in California. I grew up in South Bay, if you're familiar with the area. And I have to say, I really hated it. I hated it a lot. I mean, okay, back up. I didn't really hate California in general. I hated a lot of the politics in the Bay Area. There's a lot of NIMBYism, or not in my backyard. Basically, it's a very affluent area with like huge differences in like quality of life, and like I think it's probably the biggest income inequality gap of anywhere in the US. Like, I don't know that for sure, but I would bet big money on it. Obviously, the Bay Area has like a huge housing crisis and like a huge homelessness problem. And like, it's one of these things, like, even especially throughout COVID, I've gotten increasingly frustrated with New York politicians and like with the Black Lives Matter protests and de Blasio. Well, anyway, there are things not to like about New York and New York politics, obviously, but I think at least you can say in New York, there's a right to shelter. You can get a hotel room or like get placed in a shelter if you need to. Whereas in the Bay Area, that's not a thing. Like the Bay Area wait list for homeless shelters is like frequently over 1,000 people long in San Francisco. And San Francisco isn't even that big of a city. So there's a lot of just like very frustrating local politics that I have like big feelings about. And like when I moved away from the Bay Area, I was like, I'm an East Coaster now. I'm just like gonna like find a different place to live and like a different community to integrate into, and like that's gonna be me. I'm gone. Bye. So I didn't mean to get political, but I just think that like there's just some really gross stuff with the Bay Area and wealth and like new tech money and like basically rich people using the Bay Area as their playground without any like respect for the existing community or like people who don't have tech jobs or like anything like that. I don't, it's just very frustrating having grown up there, and I really thought I was out, but now I'm going back, so I'm having some feelings about that. But honestly, it's one of these things that recently I've been thinking, like, I mean, part of the reason why I find Bay Area politics so frustrating is because I'm, like, emotionally involved with that area, and, like, maybe that's not a bad thing. Like, I've never felt as attached or, like, interested in local politics anywhere else that I've lived. I've always been connected to what's going on over there, so I think that maybe it's not a bad thing I'm moving back. Also, I'm moving to the East Bay, which if you live in the Bay Area, you know is the cool place to live. AKA the place where like real people still live, not just like tech people. So I'm excited. It's just like something, it's just not what I saw myself doing next. But then like things aligned in such a way where I was like, you know what, I think it's time. And like I have a lot of people in the Bay Area is the main thing. And I think that maybe COVID accelerated my need to find a place where I can actually like set down roots and have a community and like be really integrated, I guess. But it's just, I feel like I don't currently have another adventure in me. Like I don't really want to go live someplace where I don't know anybody at the moment. Like I know things are opening up, but I just don't feel like making new friends right now. I just want to like be around people that I love and enjoy myself and like have fun at my new job and not worry about it for a little while. Like maybe my next thing I'll go adventure somewhere else, but for now I'm like honestly pretty pumped to be closer to my family and my friends who are still in the area and stuff like that. I'm a little bit worried about finding a place to live in the Bay Area because if you don't know, which I don't think I've talked about, I currently live in university subsidized housing. I also like this cover. I mean, I feel like all these covers are pandemic related, but also like just the tones here. I feel like this could look good on a wall. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna keep it. Anyways, right, I currently live in university subsidized housing, so even though New York is a very high price of living city, I basically don't pay anything. I pay something for rent, but it's like not a reasonable rent, especially since I literally live in a 3-bedroom by myself because my roommates moved out at the beginning of the pandemic and nobody's moved in, so, and I don't have to pay 3 people's rents because it's like supplemented housing, so I just have to pay for my room. Whatever. Anyways, my living situation is like really, really nice right now, and finding a place to live in the Bay Area on a postdoc salary is going to be tough. All I'm saying. Okay. Look, we're making so much progress. I feel like this pile has shrunk. We also have these. Ding, 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 ding. So, not getting too excited yet. Oh, I like this one too. Apparently I'm just going to have a wall of New Yorker covers in my next apartment. I am pretending like this is a thing that I do, that I decorate my walls. I've been living in this apartment for 5 years, and I have not put a single thing on any wall in the whole place. But next time it's going to be different, okay? I'm actually going to, like, have furniture that I like and put things on my wall that I like. Oh no, this sticker is too stuck. I want this. You know what? I'm gonna order sushi. Live a little, right? Ding. Okay, and while we're at it, I'm gonna change because I'm very hot right now. Okay. That's better. Goodbye, sweater weather. I feel bad for not updating my channel and also not updating my channel with like interesting videos. I feel like at the beginning of the year, in my goals video, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make all this fun content that's like not just straight up TBRs or wrap-ups or whatever tags. But I haven't really gotten around to doing any of those fun videos that I was thinking of making. So hopefully this summer. But in other YouTube news, basically since I began, I've been thinking about starting a science channel. I originally, when I started a booktube channel, I was like, I would be interested in starting a science channel, but learning how YouTube works and also doing the work to create science content seems like too much at once. So I'll just do books because I can just talk about books, And then maybe in the future I'll start up a channel that focuses more on interesting science stuff for a general audience. So I've been really thinking about that, especially since I'm taking all of, I'm not taking all of July off because I have some stuff that I need to write, like papers and stuff for my current thing, and then I'm also already starting to work on fellowship applications for my postdoc, which is a whole thing. But I do have a big chunko vacation basically when I'm moving, and I was like, oh, that would be the perfect time to start if I want to do it. But I'm still sort of torn. So I was thinking of putting some more science stuff on this channel just because I don't know. The main thing is I've realized through doing YouTube how important consistency is, although you wouldn't know it for my last couple of months. But I just feel like I'm not sure I can make the time to do regular updates on a science channel. Even for a booktube video where I'm just blabbing on about books, I think a 20-minute video will take me maybe 3 hours to prep, film, and edit. Especially the editing, just because I'm not very good at saying the thing I need to say on the first time, or and I also have to cut out all my breaths, which I've gotten worse at recently because I've been just rushing a little bit more. I feel like this is my worst discovery of booktube, is it turns out that I breathe weird. So if you hear me just go in the middle of video, that's just me breathing. I'm not dying. I just breathe very loudly. Anyways, and I used to be very good at cutting all those out, and I'm less good now. And I forgot where I was going with this. Oh yeah, it just takes a lot of work. And I think that, in order to make the science videos that I would want to make, it would be easily 3 times that much work. There's more pressure to actually fact check and make sure that I'm giving people good information when talking about science. That's something I really care about. And then also there's the visual aspect, just sitting in front of a camera and talking about books is one thing, and it's the form that people use for booktube, and that's fine, and I enjoy that. But I think for a science channel, having a more involved visual component would be really beneficial for getting people interested and grabbing their attention and stuff like that. And I just know that would take a lot more work than what I do for this channel. So I'm not entirely sure where I've landed on this. I feel like I have a couple really good ideas for really fun and engaging science videos. But I don't want to just put them on a random channel and never update it. But then I also don't really want to put it in my booktube feed because I feel like people are very people come to booktube for their booktube things, and that totally makes sense to me. I also go to very specific channels for very specific types of video. I get it, but it does make me wonder what I should do with that. But maybe I could start a science channel and I don't know, be regular but low-key, post once a month. I think the science videos that I've seen, the video lengths are a bit shorter, so it's 5 to 10 minutes long. So I think maybe committing to one 5 to 10 minute long video every month would not be way too much for me to handle. There is this thing with me starting a science channel I'm still sort of trying to figure out, because I think it could be really fun, but it also could very easily start feeling like work, and I don't want that to happen. If it were good for my career also, I'd be oh yeah, whatever, that's great. But I don't think it really does much for me career-wise. And like, I'm just worried that in like 6 months, I'm going to be like, why am I doing more science on top of my science? So I'm a little bit worried about that. But I could do 6 months, make 6 videos, and then stop. Who knows? Anyways, let me know in the comments if you would be interested in seeing some science tube content, either on this feed or on a different channel. I'd love to hear. Cool. I think that was sort of all I really wanted to. Sorry, we're going through some economists right now, which I'm just not going to look at. I think now I'm basically just going to try to get through the rest of these really fast and actually focus on that so that you and I can both feel like we accomplished something today. So close to done, but I think I'm done for today. I reduced my pile a lot. This is what I have left to go through, which is truly nothing, but I need to eat my sushi right now. And I was putting aside, that was just a random book. Here we go. I was putting aside my creative nonfiction and Bitch magazine. Just because I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with them. The answer is recycle, but I just sort of want to go through them and think about it for a little while. I also greatly reduced my New Yorker pile. It now looks something like this, which is fine. I mean, it's mostly covers because I do want to use them as art. But in the next 2 to 3 months, I do hope to actually go through some of these articles that I've ripped out and read them and get rid of them before I actually move. So, all that being said, we've made great progress today. Thanks for joining me for a little weird video. And next week, you can expect some more regularly scheduled booktube content. Cool. All right, see you later.